All right. Good morning. What is up, everybody? Matt Modi here with another live stream of Fast Break Bets presented by DraftKings Sportsbook live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at this time, 11 a.m., going over the entire NBA betting slate, giving out picks for each game. As for today, it's a little bit of a grosser slate. We have 6 games, but I am going to have at least one pick for every game except for one. I just completely passed on Grizzlies, Pistons. Too much injury news, too much. We don't know who the heck's playing in that game. But if you are interested in betting that game specifically, I would recommend checking out the BettingPros app, the prop bet cheat sheet, to get picks in for that. A couple games where we'll have multiple picks. Then obviously we'll have the same game parlay at the end as well. Last stream was rough. It was not one of our better streams. It was also the worst stream that I've ever had from a hook perspective. I think 4 separate plays that lost. All of them got hooked. Some of them are lower plays, like 6.5 assists, ended at exactly 6. One of them was brutal with Anthony Davis, over 39.5 points plus rebounds. He had 39 with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, ended with 39. It happens. Brutal stream overall, but we'll make it back today. Very confident in that. As a reminder, subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel if you are not already. And then the most important thing is get those questions, those comments, everything you possibly can into the chat. When you see me look over, it's just monitoring the chat. Anything you could get in there, especially for a grosser slate like today, would be great. I love reading through all the comments, whether it's a question about a game, whether it's a comment about a play I have, or you just want to give your own play for a game that I'm talking about. Everything I'll try to look at in the chat. So before we get into everything, I do want to talk to you about DraftKings Sportsbook. So the thrill and excitement of March Mania is here in DraftKings Sportsbook. One of America's top rated sportsbook apps is giving new customers a shot to turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets with any college basketball bet. The Final Four is set. UConn is a heavy favorite to win, with Purdue being the second favorite. It kind of feels like we're getting the matchup, UConn versus Purdue, the two big guys. But hey, NC State, Alabama, they could have something to say about it. So if you wanted to get in on a college basketball bet, go to DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code FANTASYPROS. New customers, again, can turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code FANTASYPROS. The crown is yours. All right, let's get into today's bangers. The first play that we're going to go ahead and lock in here. This is in the Celtics versus Hornets game. Admittedly, a grosser game just with injury news and stuff, but I really like the play that I got here. Jayson Tatum, 4+ made 3-pointers, putting a half unit on this one as opposed to a full unit, but this is offered at plus 200 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. So this game specifically, it's tough to get an idea of really what to expect. The Hornets, they're in full tank mode. A lot of their better players are out except for a couple like Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, but the Celtics on the other side, they seem to have slowed down a little bit after they clinched the 1 seed, losing back-to-back games to the Hawks. And they're listing Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis as questionable to play here. But I really think the value on Tatum to make 4 3-pointers at plus 200 odds is really, really good. He had a stretch over the past 10 games where he made 4 or more 3-pointers in 4 straight games, and he had done it in 5 of 6 as well. Since then, he's missed it in 4 straight games. That just makes it a great opportunity to fade recent results. That's how shooting goes in the NBA. I say this all the time, but a 40% 3-point shooter doesn't always go 4 of 10 or 2 of 5 from deep. Instead, they'll go 8 of 9, 6 of 7, and then 1 of 10, stuff like that. That's how it works. So the fact that we're getting him a little bit of a dip recently, I think is phenomenal. And Jayson Tatum just kills the Hornets in his career. This does date back to last year, but he's hit 4 or more 3-pointers in all 5 of his last 5 games against the Hornets. So that was 4 games last year, and the 1 game this year was back in November. So it's tough to really take a ton out of that. I think it more so has to do with how bad the Hornets defense is. And Jayson Tatum is one of those guys where he just catches a heater. Like he could make 4 3-pointers in a quarter, in a half, something like that. So I like this play as of right now. If both Brown and or Kristaps Porzingis end up getting ruled out, I think it would be even better. So I really like this play. Again, it's worth a half unit play here. That's what we will officially track it as. Next up, so we're skipping the Grizzlies versus Pistons, just to be clear. The next game that we're going to talk about is the Nets versus Pacers. Actually, I'm going to have 2 plays for this game. Actually, one of my favorite games of the slate. The first one we're taking Cam Thomas over 24.5 points. This is best offered at minus 108 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. So for Jayson Tatum, we are fading recent results. We are absolutely not doing that with Cam Thomas. But Cam Thomas is the type of guy that I don't really feel bad backing him during a hot streak, especially at this time of year. Like once we get into April regular season basketball, there are some teams that don't resemble real basketball. And I would put the Brooklyn Nets in that category. And Cam Thomas is the ultimate kind of street ball, whatever you want to call it, type of player where he can get buckets. Absolutely, he can get buckets. He can't really do much else. And this is the perfect time of year for someone to pad their stats and get buckets. In his last 3 games, Cam Thomas has 38, 28, and 30 points. In those 3 games, he's attempted 27, 22, and 22 field goals in that span as well. If you look at his last 10 games, he's attempting almost 20 field goals per game while playing about 37 minutes per game as well. Now, part of that minutes per game is a little bit inflated because he had an overtime game against the Wizards where he played 45 minutes. Even if you take that game out, he's averaging over 35 minutes of playing time per game in his past 10 games. And now in this matchup against the Pacers, an excellent matchup against a horrific defense for him to just, same thing, get up a ton of buckets, put up a ton of shots, and get buckets. On the year, the Pacers are giving up the most points per game in the entire NBA via isolation. Cam Thomas leads the Nets in ISO points per game. And these stats are looking at the entire season for Cam Thomas, where his playing time has been spotty, but recently he's been playing a ton. For whatever reason, NBA.com doesn't let you filter for specific dates while looking at certain stats, so I can only find all year. But you can just presume if he's leading the team in the entire season, that it's even better the past 10 games. Same thing for pick and roll ball handlers. The Pacers are allowing the most points per game to pick and roll ball handlers. Cam Thomas leads the Nets in points per game as the main pick and roll ball handler. And then this data I could drive into a more recent sample size, but over the past 10 games, not only is Cam Thomas leading the Nets in points per game via drives specifically, he's actually 5th in the entire NBA in this category in terms of points per game via drives. 5th in the NBA. So he should continue to get buckets in this one. Hopefully he does, cashing this play for us. Next up, again, we're sticking in the same game here, and we're taking Nic Claxton over 9.5 rebounds. This is best offered at minus 115 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. This is another system play for a guy on the Nets going up against the Pacers. The Pacers give up a ton of points to like main pick and roll ball handlers, guys that drive ISO a lot. The Pacers also give up a ton of rebounds to centers specifically. Center rebound props have been crushing the past couple games. And just look at the numbers that they've been giving up recently. It's crazy. Anthony Davis, last time against the Pacers, had 15 rebounds on an over-under of 13.5. Nikola Vucevic had 12 rebounds on an over-under of 10.5. In the same game, Andre Drummond, the backup center, had 11 rebounds on an over-under of 8.5. Going back even further in the Clippers game, Zubac, 11 rebounds. His over-under was 9.5. Anthony Davis, because these two teams played twice recently, had 16 rebounds the first game, over-under of 13.5. This is all to say that not only have centers been going over the rebound prop against the Pacers, they've been crushing their rebound prop against the Pacers. And Nic Claxton had a nice stretch where he cashed this over 10 or more rebounds in 3 straight games. He missed it last game against the Lakers. He only had 6 rebounds. So at this one, we do get to fade recent results, which is nice. He is on the second half of a back-to-back, but he only played 26 minutes last night. I'm not totally scared off by those minutes. And if you're wondering why the Pacers defense is giving up or the Pacers in general, not just their defense, is giving up so many rebounds to centers, it's because they shoot everything around the rim. You think with Halliburton, how fast they play, they take a lot of three-pointers, and they do. I mean, they play at a fast pace. But over the past 10 games specifically, they're attempting the most shots in the NBA within 5 feet from the basket. Shots that are closer to the basket means more rebound opportunities to centers. Teams that are heavy jump shot shooting teams that shoot from farther out, that leads to more rebound opportunities for guards. So if you look at like the Suns, the Celtics, those are the best matchup for guard rebound props specifically. For this one, we're looking at Nic Claxton to cash his rebound prop for us. So we're a couple picks deep. Before I get into the next one, I want to talk to you about the Betting Pros Discord. If you are looking to up your game in sports betting, look no further than the exclusive Discord community at bettingpros.com/chat. In the Discord, Betting Pros has gathered a team of expert handicappers giving you free picks for whatever the sport season is going on. So right now, we're talking March Madness. MLB season is upon us. That's exciting. NHL, college women's March Madness as well. Golf, soccer, whatever you're looking for, you can find in the Discord. Or player props, live betting, futures, main lines. Whatever you want, you can find in the Betting Pros Discord. Get in on the action, connect with like-minded sports betting enthusiasts, elevate your own betting strategy with insights from the pros. Join us in the Discord and take your sports betting experience to the next level. There's also a poll in here to vote. I hadn't seen the chat, sorry, because I didn't realize there was a poll up. Miller threes, he's been firing away 7 attempts per game recently, thanks. I did look at Brandon Miller three-pointers. The problem is a lot of his three-pointers, from my knowledge, I didn't look a ton into this, but he's more of a catch-and-shoot three-point attempt kind of guy, whereas the Celtics defense, they don't give up much catch-and-shoot-wise. They give up a ton of pull-ups. So I would find someone on the Hornets who takes a lot of pull-up three-pointers specifically. And if that's Brandon Miller, then I think that would be a good play. Chris, what's up, Matt? Appreciate you for joining in the chat. And then Mike Thompson, happy Easter Monday. Yes, happy Easter Monday. All right, next pick. This is in the Blazers versus Magic game. I'm taking Paolo Banchero over 21.5 points. This is best offered at -108 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. So I will admit, Paolo Banchero can definitely be scary to bet because his scoring is very inconsistent. I mean, he's a young player on a team that has a really, really good defense, so he doesn't always need to score a ton. So his scoring can come and go. But in terms of the matchup, he should have a good scoring game against the Blazers. Over the past 10 games, the Blazers are allowing both the most made and attempted pull-up shots in general, while specifically allowing the second most made pull-up two-pointers on the third most pull-up two-point attempts as well. The reason why I'm highlighting specifically the two-pointers is because Paolo hasn't quite turned himself into a great shooter from deep yet. His over-under three-point prop is normally 1.5. A lot of times with the under as the favorite outcome. So if he hits 2 3-pointers in this one, that would be a bonus for us. But what he can do is absolutely eat pulling up from the mid-range. On the Magic, he both takes and makes the most pull-ups on the team by far. It's not even close. You look at him and the next closest guy, he's over triple the amount of pull-up attempts from the next closest guy, and he's over double the next closest guy in terms of pull-up shots made. Now, he has only cashed this in 3 of his last 10 games. So I will admit there's definitely some risk here. But in terms of the matchup, and the matchup is good, and the Magic, sorry, I was fumbling over the matchup and Magic, they still have something to play for, right? Like they're the 3rd seed, I think, in the East at this point. You don't want to get into that 4th spot. You don't want to have to face the Celtics in the second round. So I think that Paolo should have a good game if he wants to be aggressive from scoring, which for someone in their second year in a playoff push, he missed this last game, but he cashed it the game before. You kind of hope that he does take that part a little bit serious and just in terms of scoring. All right, so we're about halfway done. The perfect time to talk to you about a 1-year premium subscription giveaway to Betting Pros. So if you want a chance to win a premium 1-year subscription to Betting Pros, it's your place to start betting harder, not smarter. All you need to do to be entered is subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel, which hopefully you've already done. If not, please click that subscribe button and then comment below on the video. And that's it. A winner will be announced right here on the channel. So make sure to turn notifications on so you can be alerted when new episodes drop. And then you can come in and claim your prize. But a 1-year premium subscription and giveaway, subscribe and comment, and that's how you can be entered. All right, we have 4 more picks to go, and then we have our same game parlay as well. Only 2 games, but I'm going to have 2 picks in each of them. And I really like both of these games from a betting perspective as well. So I'm kind of glad that at least there is some value on the board. The first game, Hawks versus Bulls, I'm taking Bogdan Bogdanovic, 4+ made 3-pointers. This is best offered at +114 odds per the Betting Pros consensus, or I should say the most up-to-date odds here on DraftKings as well. So odds obviously change as time goes on. So you can always see on the screen where DraftKings is pricing plays at. But this was a positive expected value play that I found on the Betting Pros app. So I just talked about a premium subscription. This was a play that I found using their cheat sheet. They give Bogdan a 51.5% chance of covering this number, meaning they give him a 51.5% chance of making 4 or more 3-pointers. So a win percentage of above 50%, and the odds are for plus money That's the perfect example of positive expected value, right? Plus money bets means that you don't have to win half in order to win your money, or excuse me, in order to be profitable. If you do win half, you are profitable. And this one, according to Betting Pros, has a 51.5% chance of hitting. Now, I will admit, Bogdan, I put him in my white whale category of players because he's a good player. He generally is good hitting his props. I just can't seem to get him on the right night. Maybe at the end of the season, I should look through and like come up with my top 5 white whale players or something. I would guess he would be on that list. But it's such a good matchup against a putrid Bulls 3-point defense that I'm comfortable riding with him having a good game. Now, he is coming off of a good game as well. Last game, he hit 5 3-pointers on 9 attempts against the Bucks. So we're not necessarily fading immediate recent results in this one. But for shooters, I like to kind of, shooters hit their props more often than not in waves, in clusters. So they'll miss it for 4 straight, and then they'll hit it in 2 of 3, something like that. So we're hoping we can catch Bogdan on a hot streak here. And it truly is remarkable how bad the Bulls are at guarding the 3-point line. They're a defense that we've looked at all year for 3-point props. It came through us yesterday. If you followed me on my 3-point prop, Naz Reid cashed his against the Bulls. If you look at the entire season, they're ranked as the 5th best matchup when it comes to shooting guard 3-point props. And I like looking at not only just raw numbers, but I like to look at raw numbers in terms of over-unders as well, because you can see where books are pricing players at. And even as bad as they are, they're still cashing their over more often than not against the Bulls. And that all makes sense when you dig into the numbers. And this is looking at the most recent 10 games, not even the entire season. But over the last 10 games, the Bulls are allowing the 2nd most catch and shoot 3-point attempts in the NBA, the 9th most pull-up 3-point attempts in the NBA. Now that 9th most, I'm pretty sure that was 4th most yesterday. So yesterday, a ton of players caught and shot, I guess is what the phrasing there, but they didn't pull up a ton. So the catch and shoot went up, pull-ups went down. But in terms of corner 3-point attempts, they're allowing the most corner 3-point attempts while allowing the 7th most above the break 3-point attempts. That's crazy. Normally, defenses will funnel shots into one of these locations, right? Like they'll give up a lot of catch and shoot, but not a lot of pull-ups, or they'll give up a lot of corner threes, but not a lot of above the break. The Bulls being bottom 9 in the last 10 games in all 4 categories, that's unheard of. And the last time these two teams played, they played in February. Bogdan made 6 3-pointers. So hopefully he can come through for us with the game that is similar to what he had last time. We don't need him to make 6. We just need him to make 4 for a plus money banger. I thought it was a really good one. Next up, same game, Hawks Bulls. I'm taking Dejounte Murray, 10 plus assists. DraftKings is offering this at plus 105 odds. You could be a little bit spicier and take a double-double, but I'm more comfortable in just riding with the assist. So that's where I went here. And because of the Bulls' style of defense, point guard assist is a matchup that we've looked at all year. Now, they're not quite the Wizards or the Jazz level of juicy matchup for point guard assists, but they're still a plus matchup overall. And it kind of makes sense when you think they give up a ton of corner threes and a ton of catch and shoot 3-pointers. Those are all assisted opportunities, right? And the reason why they allow so many catch and shoot and corner threes, it's all about the style of defense that they play. They don't have a great rim protector. They don't have a great perimeter defense as well outside of Alex Caruso, but they're really aggressive in not allowing a lot of shots at the paint or at the rim in the paint, right? Like if you look at their attempted shots in the rim, at the rim in the paint, they're at the bottom of the NBA despite not having plus defenders. And it's because of their defensive style. They're aggressive in sending help, which means that you run a quick pick and roll, you start getting into the paint, and then you have an easy kick out opportunity to an open 3-point shooter. That's why they give up so many assists to point guards. And they also don't give up a lot of points to point guards because of that as well. Assists are generally the play for point guards against the Bulls, as are 3-point props. Now, looking at Murray, he's been on fire from scoring, from assisting, from everywhere. I like his assists tonight, but he's been on fire just in general recently. He cashed 12 assists last game against the Bucks, but he missed it in the previous 2 prior to that. So we still get a nice fade of immediate recent results looking at this 3-game sample size. But prior to this 3-game stretch, he had cashed 10 or more assists in 5 straight games. All 5, he had 10. In his last 10 games, he's averaging 15 about potential assists per game. That is the 2nd most average of a potential assist in the entire NBA. Only Luka is ahead of him in terms of potential assists in the last 10 games. So let's hope that Dejounte stays hot in this one, at least from an assist perspective, starts diming guys up, coming through for us. Next up, the last game that we'll talk about, and we will have two plays in this game, is CJ McCollum over 22.5 points. Best offered at -127 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. It might have been bumped up to 23.5 for better odds. I would still take it if it did get bumped up to 23.5, because I absolutely love this play for CJ McCollum for a lot of reasons. Number one, Brandon Ingram has been out for the past couple games. I think he's missed the last 5 games, and CJ McCollum has been phenomenal without Brandon Ingram in the lineup. Not only recently, but overall as well. So I will admit this is not a fade of recent results for this one, but I do think that there has been a tangible difference that the books haven't quite caught up yet in terms of CJ McCollum's props. Brandon Ingram's missed 5 games now. CJ McCollum has scored 23 or more points in all 5 of those games. Now, granted, twice he scored exactly 23. That's still an over. And since March 22nd, which is when the first game without Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum is averaging just under 24 points per game. He's got the second highest usage rate on the team at 28.8%. Only Zion is higher than him. But in terms of this matchup, I love it for CJ McCollum, right? The Suns defense play a drop coverage with Nurkic, with Bol at center. And because of that, they give up a lot of pull-up jump shots, a lot of mid-range jump shots, stuff like that. Over the past 10 games, the Suns are allowing the 5th most mid-range jumpers in the NBA. They're allowing the 5th most pull-up shots in the NBA and the 5th most pull-up three-point attempts as well. So they're not the best matchup, but top 5 in all 3 of those is still pretty good. And that's how CJ scores the most for the Pelicans. He pulls up the most in the past 10 games. Also from three-point range, he's the pull-up guy, not like catch and shoot like Trey Murphy and stuff like that. So CJ McCollum points, I think, is a great play. And also, I will say the Suns-Pelicans game is the game that we're going to have the same game parlay on as well. It's definitely the best game of the night because these two teams are going to be trying. It's an important game for playoff seeding. And there's a little bit of beef with these two teams as well. But anyways, our next play, we're heading to the other side of the ball, and we're taking Grayson Allen, 4+ made three-pointers. This is best offered on DraftKings at +145 odds. This is a play because of the style in which the Pelicans play defense. They allow a ton of wide open three-point attempts, right? They trust their defense. They trust their length, and they will just let guys shoot wide open. On the season, they're allowing the highest frequency of shots be from three-point range. And over the past 10 games, they're allowing the second highest frequency of shots from three-point range be considered wide open. NBA.com defines wide open as 6+ feet of space. And the Pelicans have been doing this all year. And despite the fact that Grayson Allen has had a phenomenal year shooting from deep, he somehow gets left open the most on the Suns. He attempts the most shots on the team that are considered wide open. Now, he had a stretch about 10 games ago where he was on fire from deep. He's been a little bit colder. He hasn't gotten 4 or more made three-pointers in a little bit. So this is a great opportunity where we do get to fade recent results, which I like, and a great matchup. So that's our final play. And then in terms of our same game parlay, again, it's in the Suns versus Pelicans game. It's +360 odds. And the plays here are CJ McCollum, 20+ points. So I'm taking that a little bit lower than what his over-under is, just to be a little bit safer. I'm also taking Devin Booker, 25+ points. Same thing here. I'm taking it a little bit below his average. And Devin Booker has just killed the Pelicans recently. He's dropped 50 points, I think, in each of the last 2 matchups. He just loves this matchup against the Pelicans. And then our fourth leg is what we already talked about, Grayson Allen, 4+ made three-pointers. So that one is the not safe one to get the odds a little bit better, +360 odds. Again, +360 odds at DraftKings. CJ McCollum, 20+ points. Devin Booker, 25+ points. Grayson Allen, 4+ made three-pointers. And that's all we got. That was my same game parlay of the day. If you are looking to build your own same game parlay, check out the Betting Pros Same Game Parlay Builder. Same game parlays is where you combine multiple bets within a single NBA game. And the cool part about using the app for your same game parlays is you can leverage different stats to look at, different analytics to make your same game parlay. You can look at correlated bet recommendations, like how are the closely correlated are the bets are together. You can look at EV ratings, just find the highest probability of positive expected value plays. You can look at cover probability. So instead of expected value, just what's the likelihood that these plays actually hit? Plenty more using the Betting Pros Same Game Parlay Builder. Perfect your betting strategy by analyzing their correlation grades, projections, You can stay ahead of the curve by looking at other same-game parlays placed by other fellow bettors. Start building winning parlays today at bettingpros.com/parlay. And that's all we got. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everybody has a great day today. Let's cash some of these bangers, and I will catch you on Wednesday.